Welcome back to another season preview on SJHL.ca, and this season preview is brought to you by the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. And today we are pleased to be joined by head coach and general manager of the Flin Flon Bombers, Mike Reagan. Mike, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today. How's it going?
Excellent. Yourself?
It's going great. Hockey season's just around the corner. I know it's busy for all 12 SJHL teams, but before we talk about this season, let's briefly talk about last year. You guys, the Bombers, finishing fifth in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League standings, but then going on an unbelievable playoff run all the way to the SJHL final. A heartbreaking loss to Estevan in Game 7, but getting the chance to go to the Centennial Cup and falling in the quarterfinal. Maybe just when you look back and you put a bow on last season, what do you think about from last year?
Yeah, a lot of highs and lows. We felt that we were in a dogfight with Estevan and Humboldt for a majority of the season to finish in the top three, and then obviously we had quite the slump in February, and that's definitely not the time that you want to, go in a slump and that. But there's a lot of different factors that played into that. So we were still very confident in ourselves. We just had to, get our feet back underneath us and get the guys believing in themselves again. And, we did a couple things at the end of the season that we felt were huge for us. And then, I think that, obviously a very emotional loss in Game 7. And it was a great series back and forth. I think it was great for the league, coming out of COVID, both buildings just packed to the rafters and a lot of excitement. So, from that standpoint, we're proud that we were a part of it. Like I said, disappointed that we lost in Game 7, but really proud of the guys, the way they were able to rebound off of that, and the way we played in the Centennial Cup. And then we have another heartbreaking loss, up 2-0 in the quarterfinals, and scored 2 power play goals. Our power plays clicking and that, and then it ends up being our power play giving up 2 shorthanded goals, and losing in double overtime was real tough. But in saying that, very proud of the guys. We played well and we were able to rebound off of losing in the finals there, and that so says a lot about the character of our guys. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for is that they play with their hearts and give it everything that they've got, and definitely didn't disappoint in that factor. So just a tremendous group of guys, and I think that the guys that returned from that team have learned a lot from that run and what it takes to win hockey games. And so we're excited about this year coming up, and that there's no question we got a little bit of a chip on our shoulders over last year, and I think that's a good thing. I think that you want to make sure that your guys are still motivated going into this year. It's been definitely a short summer but we're ready to go.
I was just going to say, because of your guys' lengthy playoff run, going to the Centennial Cup, a much shorter off season for you guys as an organization. So for yourself, when you're trying to put together a roster now for this season and filling the holes of some of the players that you lost due to graduation, how was the off season for yourself?
Personally, like I said, very short, and that wasn't on the lake as much as I'd like to, but recruiting wise, it was fantastic. I think that our scouting staff does a tremendous job here, and there's a lot of guys that are behind the scenes that don't probably get the credit that they deserve. And throughout the playoffs, they kept working hard at recruiting players. And I think the deeper that we went, obviously, the easier recruiting was for us. And even after the fact, after the June 1st signing period, we had a lot of players that contacted us about coming and playing in Flin Flon, and that's the results of having a successful season. Players want to be a part of winning organizations, and we are fortunate that way. So camp is going to be extremely competitive. We probably added about 6 to 10 guys through the summer that we weren't really expecting to have interest in our organization. So I think the guys that were signed early on, maybe are a little bit nervous about that. But hey, our job's to build a winner here, and we're not going to turn down good hockey players. So I guess we're very fortunate that we're going to be able to be picky when it comes to selecting our players, and there's going to be the finest details that's going to separate player A from player B.
Now, you kind of alluded to it when it comes to the players returning from last year's edition of the Flin Flon Bombers, a lengthy playoff run, a trip to the national championship, but maybe just speak a little bit more to, how valuable that experience is for your returning players.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys got 20 to 30 games more than some other guys in the league and across Canada, and that's so basically half a season, or pretty close to. Your young guys are definitely going to grow and mature from that and understand that winning isn't easy, and that you have to be willing to do the little things right in order to win, and especially at that level when you're facing off against the best teams in Canada. The littlest mistake can cost you, and and then being able to capitalize on the other team's mistakes, I think is huge. So I think that our young guys grew a lot. A guy like Jaden Mercier, I mean, he's going into his fourth year with us. No question, one of the most skilled guys in the league, and we're expecting a huge year from him. But now he's added, that dimension of how to win and what it takes, and it's not strictly skill and that sort of thing. So, I'm excited about seeing what pays off for us with that long playoff run for some of our young guys.
When you look at, and all the players now coming back to the Flin Flon Bombers and your recruiting class, and you look at this team for the 2022-2023 season, where do you think the strength of this Flin Flon Bombers squad is?
It's interesting. I think we're further ahead up front than we were last year at this point in the season. When you take a look at the beginning of last year, we had Cole Dupereau, Jackson Martins, and Jaden Mercier as our first line. Dupereau and Martins had combined 4 games of SJHL experience because of their 18-year-old year being COVID and shut down. So, they're all returning, and Mercier, like I said, going into his 4th year. That experience right there is huge for us. We've also got a guy in Jeromy that is a Division I commit that had post-COVID factors that played into him not being able to play much of the second half of the year. So he's very hungry, and so our forward group, I think, is a lot deeper at this point in the season. We also returned 4 of our defensemen from last year's team that played in the Centennial Cup. So, from that standpoint, I think that our core is a little bit stronger than it was at the start of last year. There's always moves to be made throughout a season. You don't show up in September and have a championship team in September, and that I think that every team at this point of the season likes who they got, and everybody's excited and feels that they've got a great team in that. But, the people are really going to find out a month or 6 weeks into the season where they're really at and that sort of thing. I think if there's any area that of concern, maybe not concern, but where there's a question mark, it'd probably be in goal. Losing Cal Shell is obviously a huge loss for us. There's a number of teams that lost their number 1 goaltender. So, we're excited about that challenge. We feel that we've brought in some guys that are going to really compete for that position and do a really good job. So it's going to be interesting.
And finally, Mike, you mentioned a little bit, the returning players and your staff, a little bit of a chip on your shoulder after everything that kind of transpired last season. I'm assuming that expectations are pretty high for this Flin Flon Bombers squad for this season.
I hope so. I mean, I know they are for me, but and the fans and that. But I love the preparation that our returning guys put in this summer. I like their attitudes. I like the way they showed up to camp here. They seem very motivated, and I think that was the big thing for us going into the Centennial Cup after we lost. I loved how motivated we were, and we were the only team that went there without a ring on our finger, and unfortunately we weren't able to get that ring, but we feel that we proved to a lot of people out there that we belong there, and that we were very deserving. So, I think it's the power of attitude is huge, and we've got great attitudes coming in so far, and that sort of thing. So it's going to be an exciting season. We expect to give ourselves a chance at the end of the day, but in saying that, there's 56 games to be played here before we find out where exactly we stand. So it's a new challenge every year, and an exciting one, and we've got our work cut out for us for sure, just like a number of other teams, but we feel that we're up to the task.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck this regular season.
Thanks very much.
That is the head coach and general manager of the Flin Flon Bombers, Mike Reagan. And the Bombers will open up their 2022-2023 season on September 16th when they play host to the Melfort Mustangs.